Hello, I'm Ollie and this is CriminOlly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today I've got 7 great Christmas gift suggestions for the book lover in your life. So today I've got 7 suggestions of gifts you might want to consider giving to the book lover in your life this festive season. If you're watching this, you're probably a book lover yourself, so you might also want to consider suggesting these to people who are looking for presents to buy you. Only one of these things is a book. So the final one, I'm going to save it till last, the final one is a particular book. But apart from that, these are a range of different things that I think book lovers would enjoy. Before I get into the list, just let me take 1 minute to talk to you about today's sponsor, Serious Readers, whose high definition lights would definitely make a great gift for any book lover. I've had one for a few months now and they have transformed my reading experience, particularly on autumnal and winter nights like we're having at the moment. The daylight wavelength technology they use in their lights is absolutely fabulous. It really is like reading in daylight. It makes reading in the evening an absolute pleasure. The lights are really well designed and solidly constructed. They're beautifully put together and they have a load of different configuration options so you can make sure they fit the room that you're putting them in. If you're interested, do check out the link in the description to this video and remember to use the code OLLY24 to get £100 off your first order. I just wanted to say a big thank you to Serious Readers for their support of the channel this year. It really has been appreciated. So you might think that the obvious thing to buy a book lover is a book, but that can be a dangerous thing to do. You don't know if they've already read it, and if they haven't, then the book will come with a certain obligation that they need to read and enjoy it. So I tend to avoid giving books as gifts where I can, and that's why I've come up with this list of 7 things which I think are good alternatives. Now the final one is a book, but it's an absolutely wonderful book, and if you've got someone in your life who appreciates the kind of thing that's in this book, I think they will absolutely love it. So my first suggestion is the most expensive one, but it's one I think any book lover who enjoys reading digitally would appreciate, and that is a small e-ink device. So I've got 2 of them here, the Books Palmer and the Bigme High Break. They're both fantastic. I really enjoy reading on both of these devices, and because they're so small you can easily take them with you anywhere. So even if the person you're buying for has already got a bigger e-ink device, I think they would appreciate one of these. Android gives them a huge amount of versatility, so you can put whatever app you want on them, and because they've got e-ink screens, they're really nice to read on as well. If you're interested, I've got a few videos on the channel talking about these 2 devices, so do check those out. My next suggestion is a Patreon subscription to an author they like. So Patreon, if you don't know, is a subscription service where creators, authors, artists can connect with their audiences. And you can give Patreon subscriptions as gifts. So there are loads of authors who've got Patreons where they talk about their writing. They give readers an insight into their, the way they work, into their works in progress and things like that. So there's a few authors I really like who've got Patreons. So Laird Barron, Gretchen Felker-Martin, Mark Hodder all have Patrons, and there are loads of other ones. If you hop on the Patreon site, it's easy to search for authors, and I'm sure you will find one that the person you're looking to buy for is a fan of. So the next idea is another subscription one, and that is a subscription to either Kobo Plus or Kindle Unlimited, depending on what kind of e-reader they have. So you can't directly gift either of these subscriptions, but you can buy them a gift card either to Kobo or Kindle that they can then use to purchase a subscription. And that will open up a world of books that they wouldn't necessarily have read otherwise. So a good way to give them something that will enrich their reading experience and also last for a while. So every month when they borrow books, they'll think of you and remember Christmas. My next suggestion is to get them a signed book by an author they really like. The benefit of this one is that it's something much more personalised, and also if they've already got the book they won't mind because you're giving them a signed copy, and it's easier to get hold of signed copies than you might think. So if you look on eBay or somewhere like that, you will often find loads of signed copies of books relatively cheap. Authors do big book tours where they go around and sign loads of books in bookstores, and what that means is these books do tend to end up at times on the second-hand market, so it can be relatively easy and not as expensive as you'd think to buy signed books online. The other thing you can do is you can quite often buy signed books directly from authors. So someone like Adam Neville, for example, sells signed copies of his books on his website. Or if you know that an author is doing a book signing tour at the moment, going around various bookshops, you could contact one of those bookshops and ask them to set aside or post you a copy of one of the signed books. My next suggestion is to give them a beloved book from their childhood. This really is a wonderful thing. I've had it happen a couple of times to me, and it was an incredible experience to leaf through a book, to look at the pictures and have kind of childhood memories come rushing back. It's one of those gifts that doesn't need to cost very much but can have a real impact. My next idea is to give them a subscription from an independent bookshop. So lots of indie bookstores do this. The idea being you pay a subscription fee and every month they will pick a book for you and send it to you in the post. I think this is a lovely idea. The idea of getting a book every month in the post is something I think will put a smile on any book lover's face, and it's also a great way to support independent bookshops. My local indie bookstore, Chapter 34, does it. I'll leave a link to their website in the description. My final suggestion is the actual book. If you've got somebody in your life who likes this kind of thing, I guarantee they will love this book. It's Weasels Ripped My Flesh from the Men's Adventure Library. So Men's Adventure Library do fantastic work reprinting articles and stories and artwork from vintage men's magazines. So this is the kind of book you don't have to read cover to cover. It's the kind of book you can sit down and just leaf through and enjoy. The stories and articles are really interesting, really entertaining, but it's the artwork that really makes this book, and it's beautifully presented. They do an absolutely fantastic job. So those are my suggestions of gift ideas for the book lover in your life. I do hope you enjoyed them. Do let me know if you've got any suggestions yourself in the comments. And when it comes, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Anyway, I will leave it there and say, as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.